Yeah, let's see what the state offers. Yeah, let's see what the state offers it for, and I think that's a little premature at this point in time. I was just answering because I heard you say any other objections. Oh, that's at the time that you all have have an opportunity to take a look at the transcript. But if the tape's played, depending upon the foundation, depending upon what it's issued for, I'll make a determination at that point. And then can we just approach for about 40 seconds? Okay. Are they good, Pam? Okay, all right. Well, it's time to get ready, okay? All right. For it, I think. That's a little premature at this point in time. I was just saying.
Good afternoon, y'all. Hit the like button as y'all come in, if y'all don't mind. It's too early for the sidebars. That lady there is a son of a bitch. That Miss Love. They need to get rid of that bitch. She is crazy.
All rise for the jury.
All rise.
All right, thank you, Deputy Ham. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Members of the jury, good afternoon. All right, sound good. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, without further delay, we're going to continue with the presentation of the state's case. So, ladies and sirs, I'll call you next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls retired Detective David Quinn.
All right, summon Detective Quinn, please.
Okay.
All right, Detective Quinn, good afternoon, sir. Afternoon. All right, come on up to the witness stand, sir. Before you sit down, if you would be so kind and turn and face us. Deputy Ham to be sworn as a witness.
Oh, damn. He just threw his name up there. Okay.
David Quinn, DAVID, QUINN.
Okay.
And good afternoon. How are you employed?
I'm retired.
What are you retired from?
The Atlanta Police Department.
And how long have you been retired from the Atlanta Police Department?
Fully since 2019.
Okay. And when you say fully, what does that mean?
So I joined the Atlanta Police Department in 1985 when I was 20 years old. And I stayed until 2019, so I did 33 years and some change. After that, I got into the true crime TV business, which is what I do now.
And tell the jury a little bit about your time with the Atlanta Police Department over those 33 years.
Again, I hit the street when I was about 21 years old, 1986, after having been hired at 20. And I went straight to Zone 3. Zone 3 was back in those days, Southeast, Southwest Atlanta. I stayed there 10 years and probably the highest crime district in the city at that time. After those 10 years, I don't know why, somebody sent me to Bankhead and I went to the Zone 1 precinct and I worked there for another 5. In my 15th year, after working those high crime areas, somebody promoted me to detective. They sent me straight to homicide, which sent me right back to those same neighborhoods in Zone 3 and Zone 1. It's like going home. So.
And let's talk about your 10 years being in Zone 3. Did you have the occasion to patrol the entire Zone 3, or were you assigned to a particular section of Zone 3?
Well, I was assigned Zone 3 A sector, which was that area around McDaniel Glen Housing Project, the Pittsburgh Civic League Apartments, Pryor Road. But there was a lot of bleed over. In other words, I wouldn't just work one specific area in the downtown Atlanta. I would also branch out as far as Gilbert Road, which is at the county line, to Clayton County. So it was the busiest precinct at the time. So you kind of scattered all over.
Okay. And you said it briefly, as a homicide detective, did you unfortunately have the occasion to investigate homicide within the Zone 3 neighborhood?
Absolutely, every month, usually.
And based on your time in Zone 3, if you could describe the Zone 3 community for this jury.
Zone 3 in community, from the time that I worked it in the mid 80s, all the way until I was an old man in the mid 2000s. It's a rough, busy neighborhood, but there are pockets of diversity everywhere. You may have truck drivers, you have doctors, lawyers, but you also have the quote unquote marginalized communities are also in Zone 3. So it's a mix. It's not one thing.
And based on your interaction of having different type of community members within Zone 3, how would you describe the residents of Zone 3?
The who?
The residents.
The residents are hardworking people. I grew up out there with them. I feel like, I am Zone 3 because I saw so many different generations get raised up out there. And I feel like I was only 12 as a boy. And when I left, I was a grandfather. So that was my life.
Now, I'm gonna take you back to your time as a detective in the homicide unit. If you could tell the jury, what were your primary job duties and responsibilities?
When I went to homicide, I learned quickly that my responsibility was to investigate crimes that involve deaths at the hands of other humans. I have worked murder. That's primarily what I worked. I worked with about 18 other detectives, and we were in a rotation, whereas you would catch a homicide, respond to it. You'd have about a month to work that case up. And once you've worked that case up, you would go down to the bottom of that homicide list. But they were giving us the responsibility to actually handle cases that involve special investigations. In particular, police officers' use of force, shooting people, anyone that dies in custody. We handle those investigations. Sometimes we even handle corruption investigations on the department if, in fact, there was some kind of conflict in internal affairs.
So speaking specifically about having to deal with special investigations, specifically the officer-involved investigations, what were your job duties and responsibilities for those type of investigations?
Well, I had to investigate whether or not an officer had the legal authority to use his gun in a deadly way. I investigated deadly force.
And to your knowledge, is that responsibility of investigating officer-involved shootings still the responsibility of the homicide unit?
When I was on the way out, it changed gears. They decided to let the Georgia Bureau of Investigation handle those shootings. I guess they didn't want the actual agency to investigate itself.
Somebody say something?
I can, Your Honor, I said objection, speculation.
I'll vote for objection.
When you are assigned as when you are assigned an officer-involved shooting, if there is an underlying crime that occurred before the officer-involved shooting, do you investigate both the underlying crime and the officer-involved shooting, or do you are those two separate investigations?
No, you have to work both. You've got to understand the reason why the officer was there in the first place, why he pulled his gun, why he used deadly force. Sometimes it's not involving a weapon. Sometimes it's physical force. So you must also investigate that crime as well.
Now, in your experience as an investigator, do all investigators investigate cases the same way?
Oh, no. It's just like any other walk of life. I mean, everyone has their own style. And usually your style comes from how you carry yourself in the street and your experience out there with the citizens. In this case, the citizens of Fulton County, City of Atlanta.
Tell us a little bit about your investigative style.
Everybody calls me old school.
I'll vote for the objection, Mr. Steele.
I am Atlanta, and I feel like every case I work is a story, and I've got to report back, the information from that story. I always say when I work my investigations, I want to have on a belt and suspenders. I want to make sure I got everything. And sometimes, commanders and supervisors don't like that. I mean, I take my time slow and methodical with how I work my cases. I don't move very fast.
Faces. I overrule the objection, Mr. Sherman.
You can say.
That's pretty much it. I just try to keep, you don't get all the answers when you work in investigations like they do on TV. But what you do is you try to get as much as you can, and you miss things. I miss things on every investigation. And so you have to take your time to make sure you have it right.
When you're conducting an investigation, generally, what type of evidence are you looking for, say for your homicide cases? What type of evidence do you want, are you trying to gather as a part of your investigation?
I mean, first and foremost, I want eyewitnesses. I want humans to give information that could lead to some kind of inroads in closing this case. As I got older in the department, technology became a useful tool. We've always had fingerprints. You want fingerprints. DNA became a really big deal around 2002. I've watched everything change, but I always, with any kind of testimony that I receive from a witness, I want to get something to back it up, something tangible that'll vouch for this person that's an eyewitness seeing something. But I really like eyewitness evidence. A lot of people don't, but I do, because the community, that is the witness.
Now, in your time as a homicide detective, have you had the occasion to interview suspects?
Absolutely.
And tell us a little bit about your interview style.
I try to keep my interviews.
Overruled, Mr. Sharp. Have a seat.
I try to have conversations. I mean, from these conversations, I try to have them make sense. You know, I don't want it to be overbearing. Sometimes those conversations, those interviews can get heated, but you want to build some kind of rapport with the person, whether it be a witness or a suspect, and make sure you're getting good information.
You have an objection, Mr. Steele? What's the basis? All right, come on up. You have an objection, Mr. Steele?
Lord, here go the sidebars. Mm-hmm. Oh, Judge got his mask on today. That thing else, something else right there. That Miss Love. She is something else with herself. Sidebar alert. Sidebar alert.
Yes, you.
Let me ask you this. Over the course of your 30 years, how many people have you?
I mean, thousands. I mean, I can't put a cap. I can't put a number on that.
And you talked a few moments ago about building rapport. Tell us, why is it important to build rapport?
You don't want your interview to be adversarial. You want people to be calm and give you truthful testimony that you can verify later.
Mr. Stewart, you gotta pose an objection and then you gotta tell me the basis. Because selling your honor doesn't let Ms. Weaver know who you are. So please go ahead and objection and tell me your basis. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can I get you to step into your headquarters for just a second? Detective, can I get you to step outside for a minute?
Uh-oh. Mm-mm. He hot. He mad. Don't hit the floor with your big ass.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our jury has left us and our witness is off the stand. Yes, Mr. Steele, what's your motion? Your Honor, I tried to preempt it at the bench. It's exactly what I asked. And I'll wait for Ms. Weaver if the court needs it for the exact quote. But Detective Quinn just said, upon questioning the district attorney, why is it important to develop a rapport with a witness? And the answer was something to the effect of, to get truthful information. No witness can talk about veracity or truthfulness or believability of anybody. That's what I tried to say at the bench. That's the entirety of this testimony so far. I'm moving for a mistrial on Mr. Williams because this gentleman interviewed a big witness in this event. The only witness that puts Mr. Williams involved in this event. And now it's important to get truthful information. I don't know how you wipe that out. Are you going to tell the jurors to ignore that last comment? That's what you're going to say? And I warned it. And I was at the bench and you did not
Come on,
want to
Mr.
hear
Steele.
from me more than you did. You told me to step back. But, Your Honor, I've been doing this too. I anticipated it wasn't that hard to do. I'm moving for a mistrial. And I did it at the proper moment. All right. Ms. Hilton?
Your Honor,
Have a seat, Mr. Sharp. Let her finish, okay? All right. Remember, the Harvey rule is still in effect, so have a seat.
Your Honor, as it relates to Detective Quinn's response, he did not talk about a specific witness, truthfulness, or veracity. He said, in general, what I'm trying to do is to find the truth. And that is what you do in an interview. You're determining whether or not what the person who's speaking to you is credible, if they're providing credible information. Your Honor, even in this case, when you listen to the interview that has already been admitted, Detective Quinn already told the agent of being, I don't think you're being fully honest. So he's not.
But why would y'all
talking
have
about
him on
the
there?
Veracity of anyone witness. He hasn't even talked about any witnesses yet.
Y'all full
So
of
for
shit.
defense
That's all
counsel
it
to
is. You're full of
concede
shit.
Or ask for a
Period.
mistrial at this juncture, given this testimony, we're going to ask for you to deny.
All right. I'm going to deny the motion. Summon our jurors, please.
This damn judge is too damn biased.
It's noted. I'll make it yes, and I preserved it. It'll be continued.
Oh, he
Mr.
biased.
Shard, if you ask me that one more time, okay? No, I did. Listen. Everybody gets the same objection, okay? Unless there's something else.
This here is sad. This is just so sad. It's so sad.
Your Honor, previously you informed all defense counsel that motions for mistrial were not subject to the Harvey rule.
No, I
That's
didn't.
why I'm doing this.
No, I
If you
didn't.
tell me that motions for mistrial are now subject to the Harvey rule, and that's on the record.
I don't recall my saying that they were not, so.
Respectfully, I recall that, but I will just rely on the Harvey rule from now on. If that's clear.
I'll assume it for everybody then, unless you opt out.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's a shame.
Usually about the prior testimony or
This damn judge so fucking biased. Oh, Jesus.
All right, summon our jurors, please, sir.
Mm, 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 mm. Sitting up there looking like Dr. Phil.
I don't want you touching my microphone because that's exclusive purview of Ms. Weaver. Okay? So. It's okay with her, then you have carte blanche. But short of that, leave it alone.
Your Honor,
Sir,
the court considered my previous request for a continuing objection now in the same bolstering.
yes.
Irrelevant.
Well, I'll just give you a continuous objection, okay? At this point.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Deputy Ham. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. All right, you may continue your examination, madam.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Flynn, in your interviews with citizens or with suspects, or residents of the community, do you curse or use language that some may deem offensive?
I would think, yeah, my mother in particular.
And is that just your style of talk and speech?
Yeah, I mean, that's just how I talk. And I think it's more like the vernacular of the area that I've worked in all those years.
I want to direct your attention to September 11th, 2013. Were you assigned to the homicide unit?
I was.
And did you have the occasion to respond to 2745 Old Hapeville Road, Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County?
I did.
And did you arrive with other officers?
I did.
Do you recall now who you arrived with?
Well, I was riding alone, but other homicide detectives went to that scene. You had Detective Vince Velasquez, who's my longtime partner. You had Detective Summer Benton, my super. Is that me?
He gonna be cocky today.
You had a contingent of other support staff. What's going on?
Say again?
It's really ringing in my ear big time. I don't know what it is. Okay. I need
About what time did you arrive at the location?
it. I got there about 12:30 in the afternoon.
And what was the temperature of the
It was hot, from what I remember. I mean, it's Georgia afternoon, so I know it was a little warm out.
and why did you respond to that location?
Well, I got a call because I was told by dispatch that an officer had discharged his weapon and I need to get to that scene.
And while you were responding to 2745, did you know that there were other areas that were active scenes?
Absolutely.
How many other active scenes were
It was about three. You could almost say four, but three that were going to be necessary for that investigation. They were going to have to be processed.
and what were
So you had 2745 O'Hayville Road, which is the Summerdale Commons Apartments. There was, what I was told at the time, that's where the incident occurred, where the officer discharged his weapon. Then you had a house directly across the street from there where there was damage to a residential home right there on O'Hayville Road. And then you had a third scene, which was 126 Cleveland Avenue, which the Cleveland Coin Laundry, a car had crashed into it. So I had a bunch of scenes going.
and roughly how far were each of those scenes from each other?
They were within about 75 yards if you just do the whole perimeter. It's kind of disjointed, but they were all kind of right there.
You may, you've shown that document to defense counsel, correct?
Do you recognize the one?
This looks like the area I just described, roughly, yeah.
And is that their application of an overview of that area kind of described where you responded to?
I would say so.
Around this time, it's been right to
Any objection to states 158 Charlie? Anyone? All right. States 158 Charlie is admitted and then you publish it, you see fit. Yes, ma'am.
And roughly, you can either do one, two things, you go old school, like say old school and point, or you can use that computer. I'll let you decide.
Okay, I think I'll do the finger action right there.
Okay, so if you can click to the left, you should pop open to the bottom. Just tap the screen. All right. You have a pen over there? To the left.
Right here.
That should give you a pen. Can you circle on there? Do you see where it says Summerdale Commons? Or Summerdale Parks? Commons first. And then, Summerdale Apartments. And on here where it says the Skyline Laundromat. Okay. Are those the three, roughly the three areas that you just kind of described for those three accuracy?
Yes, ma'am.
Describe the tour was what seemed
Like opening day at Six Flags, it was crazy. I mean, it was fire engines, police officers, blue lights going. Everybody talking to me at one time, you know, which I'm used to, but this was a really big scene, and it was really active.
And once you got there, what did you find? What did you learn? What you find?
When I got there, I wanted to speak to my supervisor and just try to figure out what was I dealing with here. Give me an overview. The first place I pulled up to was 126 Cleveland Avenue.
And 126 Cleveland, what location?
That was the Coin Laundry.
And when you said you spoke to your sergeant, who was there?
That was Sergeant Leanne LaCause.
And was she able to provide you any information at that time?
She gave me an overview of what was going on and indicated where I needed to go next.
And did you follow her instructions?
I did.
After speaking with Sergeant LaCause, did you ask any homicide detectives this you would take control of any of this?
I asked two.
And who were those two?
I asked Detective Vince Velasquez to actually go up to 2745 Old Headville Road at Summerdale Commons and work that scene, whatever it may be. I then asked Detective Summer Benton if she could handle the 126 Cleveland Avenue. I mean, we had a car that had crashed into a building. I wanted to handle anything related to that evidence.
And did you yourself know if there any evidence you got at 2745 before
Well, when I went to 2745, there was shell casings all over the ground. I don't remember how many it was at the time. Clearly evidence of a shooting. There was a disabled front gate. This really nice mechanical gate had been destroyed, and it looked like fresh damage. And I wanted Detective Velasquez to take his time and go through that and report back whatever his findings were.
And was he able to do that?
He was.
Now, while you were on scene, were you made aware of any individuals that were detained?
I was.
How many people were detained? And who were those individuals?
I was told that it was a Frederick Prothro, Walter Murphy, and Adrian Bean.
Out of those three individuals, were you aware of any of them?
Oh, yeah. I found out that Frederick Prothro had a serious gunshot wound to the back, which changed my thinking. I mean, we had someone who was actually struck. So a lot of my energy went to that. I also found out that it was Walter Murphy had gunshot wounds to the legs. They had both been transported to Grady Hospital for treatment.
To your knowledge, you know, Adrian Bean
I heard he had some injuries, but I didn't think they were significant based on what I learned on scene. I wasn't even sure at the time if he went to the hospital.
and you said that, Mr. Prothro was the hospital, what hospital was it? And, did you have any investigators who were bringing him to the hospital to speak with, Walter Murphy?
Yeah, I have my partners, Detective A.B. Calhoun and Detective Tracy Lewis, they would go down there and try to see if they could give me some feedback on what kind of injuries I was dealing with. I was really concerned about the brother that was shot in the back.
They said the brother. When you said the brother,
I'm sorry, Frederick Proclo.
and did you interview anyone while you was?
Yeah, I did.
Who did you interview while you were on scene at hospital?
This young man by the name of Flores, and I interviewed the actual officer that discharged his weapon.
Did you interview anyone else?
I actually I didn't really interview, but I actually, there was a young man by the name of Skateboard.
Did you ever learn actual name?
Brian Taylor Ransom is what I found out his name was.
When you found it, do you remember where you actually met?
So because this was a major scene, they pulled out all the stops. They brought out what's called the mobile command vehicle. This is an air-conditioned camper where they put the officer that's been involved in the shooting away from everyone. And when I walked into the camper, this mobile crime unit, he's in there with his lawyer. So I was, his union lawyer, the officer.
And was he able to provide information that assisted or helped with your investigation?
He gave me some understanding as to why he discharged his weapon. We agreed on seeing that he would come back the next day with his attorney and give a formal statement at the homicide office.
And after speaking with Mr. Williams, did you determine if there was an underlying crime that you need to investigate, or was it determined if he was justified with fire?
There was a shooting that prompted Detective Robertson to discharge his weapon, as he told me. At that time, it was only an aggravated assault type investigation. We didn't know what else it may entail, but he responded to gunfire on a citizen.
You said you spoke to someone named Flores. His name is Flores.
That sounds correct.
How were you first made aware of this?
Sergeant Leanne Lacoste told me that,
I'm sorry, sir.
That was Mr. Steele.
Were you made-
Oh, I was sustaining objection.
Let me ask you this, were you just made aware that there were witnesses you saw?
yes,
And was he one of them?
yes.
When you were first made aware of Mr. Flores, how long had you been?
I've probably been out there about 15, maybe 20 minutes, because I was walking around at each scene. That's an estimate from 10 years ago.
To your knowledge, did any other officers speak with him prior to you speaking?
Somebody did, but I don't remember the name.
Whoever spoke with him, you know that that person interviewed that person's reaction.
I didn't know any recordings with him other than what I did.
And when you interviewed him, was that your first time speaking with him?
Yes,
Do you recall, where was he that, where was he interviewed?
I interviewed Flores at the 126 Cleveland Coin Laundry, right on the hill overlooking all the mayhem down there at the bottom of the car crash.
You may, as long as you've shown that to the defense counsel.
Yes, ma'am. I'm showing you some marker stations in the 159.
Yes, he do look dirty.
This looks pretty much like the Cleveland, 126 Cleveland Avenue location where the laundry was.
In that picture,
Yes.
And would that picture help describe to the jury the connection and the conversation with Mr. Knopfler?
So I'm between this white utility box in the picture and the driveway in that area.
So
Looking,
So,
oh yeah.
I'm
I'm sorry.
During this, I say that like, and it's 159.
Any objection to 16159, Charlie?
I don't have this way.
All right, hearing no objection, court will admit 159, Charlie, and be published as you see fit.
Should be able to erase those circles.
You know, I'm probably have to go back to the stick. That confused me. Who's the stick? Yes.
Now, you can go ahead and, subject record say about where we were at that conversation with Mr. Knopfler.
I'm in this area right around here where this cracked sidewalk is and this utility box.
And when you met with him, did he approach you or did you approach him?
He approached me. He came up to that scene. I mean, everything was cordoned off. Some kind of way he got into the scene. Someone had to have escorted him because you couldn't just walk in. Everything was wrapped up. You couldn't do nothing on Cleveland and 75 that day.
Was your interview, did you record your interview with him?
I did.
And how did you record him?
My digital recorder.
And where did you keep your digital recorder?
I keep my digital recorder right here in my lapel pocket. And that's what I've always done.
And do you generally record all your interviews or not?
Yes, for the most part, yes.
And why do you record your interviews?
Well, a couple of different reasons. I want to have all the information that's coming to me on that scene so I can come back to it and reference it as I continue my investigation. I'm just big on taping things. There are times when I'll actually take a verbal and write notes. Everything's not recorded, but in this case, his interview was recorded.
What was his demeanor like?
He was concerned about his vehicle that he had received from someone else.
In the course of your time as an investigator, have you ever had a case as an investigator, have you ever had the occasion to interview
Somebody say
anyone
you
who was
recorded
under the
right
influence of
now.
drugs or alcohol?
Throughout my
Oh,
career, almost every day.
Did Mr. Navaflores
Niggas ready for
appear
a
to
comfortable
be
break.
under the influence of any drugs or alcohol when you met with him?
Not at all. He was clean.
Did his eyes appear to be glossy as if he was high or anything like that?
I didn't see it.
Was he able to speak with you coherently?
Clean as a bell.
When you first met with Nava Flores, were you aware if he had given a different version of his involvement in the case to another officer?
I did hear that.
And based on your interview with him, did he advise you what he told that initial officer?
Yes.
Did he then advise you that the version he was telling you was now in fact what he had actually?
I suppose you can. I sustain objection.
Your Honor, this time I'm impeaching Mr. Nava Flores from what his testimony.
You have the witness on record.
Was he able to tell you about what happened on September 11, 2013?
He was.
Was he able to tell you why he was over at Cleveland Avenue?
Yes, ma'am, he was.
Was he able to tell you who he came with on Cleveland Avenue?
Yes, ma'am, he did.
Was he able to tell you why he was in the Cleveland Avenue area?
He did.
Was he able to tell you whose car he was in?
He also told me that.
What about what car, who he gave the car to?
Yes.
Was he able to tell you if other people entered the car that he had given to someone else?
He did.
Taylor said,
And was this entire interview captured on that
yeah,
audio
Mr. Bean
recording?
gonna go bye-bye.
Absolutely.
And have you had the opportunity to listen to this audio recording in preparation for your testimony here today?
Yes, ma'am.
Permission to approach, Your Honor.
You've shown that to defense counsel already.
They received it, Your Honor.
Alright.
I'm gonna show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 160. Tell me if you recognize State's Exhibit 160.
This is the Eduardo Nava Flores interview, even got my initials on it.
And what, and have you had an opportunity to listen to that interview again in preparation for today?
I have.
And did that appear to be the full interview that you had with Mr. Nava Flores back on September 11, 2013?
That's it.
Your Honor, this kind of say like the tender State's Exhibit 160C into evidence.
Any objection states, 160 Charlie. Alright, hearing no objection, 160C is admitted and it may be published as you see fit.
Thank you, Your Honor. 160C. You're welcome.
It got hot now.
This Detective D. Quinn, the date is the 11th day of September 2013. I'm currently at the intersection of Macon Drive and Cleveland Avenue. For the record, sir, what is your full name?
My name is Eduardo Flores Nava.
All right, Mr. Flores Nava, give me your date of birth, please.
It's February 2nd, 1990.
Okay. Now, we've been working a crime scene over here involving an officer-involved shooting. You just walked up minutes ago. Explain to me why you walked up here.
The reason I walked up here was because I had word that my girlfriend's car that I had borrowed this morning might be down here in the street.
All right. And we're looking over the ridge here. There's a wrecker that's loading a car on. Is that Nissan Altima burgundy in color, the car that your girlfriend allowed you to use today?
That is the car.
All right. Can you tell me anything about the car? Anything specific on how it may have arrived up here?
The only way I can think of is that we were.
Who'd you give the car to? That's all I know.
I did not give the car personally to anybody.
Okay, well, who did you allow to get your car?
Brian, my friend. He's the one that pointed me this direction. He's the one that had pretty much me here thinking that I was just going to grab.
Okay, listen to me. Listen to what I'm saying. Ryan has told us that some guy asked to borrow the car. You let him borrow the car. If we keep going around in a circle, we're going to have a long night. Let's have a short night. I'd like to go home and get a cold Peroni later on after this is all over. So tell me and describe the person.
Oh, he
If
said
it's true,
cold Peroni.
you let the car to.
Right.
That's simple. That's all I want, so we can let you go. I don't want to interrogate you
No,
and
for sure.
do the hot lamps and all
Yeah,
that shit.
right.
Let's
No.
get it done now, brother.
Right. I got pointed this direction. I was lost. I actually do not know any of these street names
Gotcha.
whatsoever.
I'll buy that.
Right. And he was pointing me directions. I trusted him with the car. He said, "Can I borrow your car?" Yeah. I let him borrow the car. Brian.
You let Brian borrow. Where are you when you let Brian borrow your car?
I have just exited the door at what direction that the officer took.
Now, Sergeant Schwartz just took you down to 2233 Macon Drive. Is that where you were when your car disappeared?
That's where I was when I was this year. I was in the car.
Who did you give the keys to?
Brian.
Gave them to Brian. Do you know who Brian gave the keys to?
Brian handed him over. 4 people got in the car like this.
Who's the guy you saw Brian give them to?
I don't remember, sir.
Can you
They're
describe him?
scattered. If it was any of the guys that I just described, it was the guy with the white t-shirt and the short hair.
Was it short hair?
It was short hair.
Shorter than mine or short as mine?
It was probably as short as
Okay.
And if
So
anything,
what do you do now after the car's been lent out?
I think
Who asked to get the car?
Brian.
Okay.
And he turns around to me and he says, "It's cool."
It's cool to let this guy borrow the car. Did you know where he was going with the car?
No, but whenever 4 black people jump in my car in the middle of Atlanta where I don't know where I'm at, I don't think
So how many black people got in your car initially?
There were 4.
You saw 4 get in your car.
Yes, there were 4.
Okay, they were all males?
They were all males.
Okay, 4 black males. And you've described,
And now at this point, whenever they're in my car, I'm not trying to say nothing. I'm not, because there's still some people at the house. I don't know where I'm at. Obviously, this guy knows his cat, and he's doing him a favor because he said that he just needs a favor. He needs to go down to the store, do something.
do you
I'm
know
not
the
gonna-
guy he lent the car to?
I have no
Have you
idea.
ever been around him before?
Never.
Okay, all right. Anything else in that first statement that you'd like to clear up now that we're here?
Yes,
Anything
that,
else?
that the gas station was just somewhere where he was looping me around, saying that we might find it.
So you never went in a gas
Never
station?
went in a gas
You only
station.
went to 2233 Main?
Right. After that, from the gas station, he pointed me to 22 Macon, pulled up, got out of the car, and he started talking to him. I kept my stuff because I don't know these cats.
Did you see any firearms at all during this exchange of the vehicle?
I did not. If I would have probably seen some firearms, I would have told them from those 20 minutes that we sat there waiting for the car to get back, I would have told them, look, fuck that. Why is your cop rolling by this house now?
Okay.
It wasn't but 3 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes after that the cops were just barreling down that road.
Gotcha.
And the guys that were there didn't say nothing, but they had this look in their eye like, you know, and they looked at each other. And to me, it was just like a feeling that
So
like,
what prompted you to leave to come up here to Old Hakeville?
someone rolled by and said, what the fuck happened? Something just happened. They got the whole road blocked off. Blah, blah. And then they started honking at them. They left, and I said, what? And then they started calling. They was like, hold on, then we don't know about this. We don't know about this. And they just said, like, yo, we have no idea if it's even our people or what.
Okay, you came up to investigate. You see your girlfriend's car that was just
Right. I was walking and I couldn't find my way all the way up here because every cop that I saw, the only way I could find it is follow cop lights. Okay, that's how I got here.
I just want your buddy.
Right. And since I was here, the only reason I was saying that is because it said, look, we went to the gas station. And I'm like, look, I don't want you to get your buddies in trouble or I don't know what kind of connection you got down here. I'm going to tell them that we were at the gas station. This is what happened. We left.
All right. But you, this is the absolute truth, this second interview, right?
Second interview is up.
Okay, we're done, man. It's that simple. All right, ending time is 2:32 in the PM, 9/11/2013.
And was that the entirety of your interview with Mr. Not said Nava Flores incorrectly, Mr. Flores Nava?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
And after this interview with Mr. Flora Naves, did you have any additional interviews with him?
I did not.
And was this your only recorded interview with him?
Absolutely.
At any point, have you ever erased any part of this interview regarding Mr. Flores Nava?
Not at all.
Now, I want to go back to Stacey Exhibit 159C. Oh, sorry, 158.
58.
Looking at Stacey Exhibit 158C, do you see roughly the area or Macon Drive on this particular map?
I live in this area, man.
Okay. And roughly, not that you knew exactly where he walked from, but is that roughly that area of Macon Drive where 2233 or 2233 Macon Drive was roughly over in that Macon Drive area?
Yeah, give or take. I mean, it's probably a block or two down from where you got the blue dots.
Block or two, which
Not a
one?
block or two. I guess headed towards, was that Mel Burton's? Would have been maybe in the middle of the road down there.
Hold on one second. Let me wait for this one. Bar. Right, if you can show us again roughly where.
I would say in this area here somewhere.
Okay. And on the same day, on September 11, 2013, did you also have the occasion to interview Brian Ransom?
I did.
And was he able to provide you information that assisted with your investigation?
He was able to, yes.
Now, looking at after speaking with Mr. Nava Flores, Flora Nava, did you ever go to 2233 Macon Drive?
Yeah, I wanted to go there and see, get a feel for what he was talking about, where he came from.
And while you were down there, did you see or speak with anyone?
I did.
Who did you speak with?
Miss Courtney Bain,
And to your knowledge, who was Courtney Bean?
she told me, well, she was the wife of Adrian.
And what, if anything, did you say to her about the investigation that you were currently working?
I was working a police shooting, and I had some questions about her husband's involvement.
Now, on September 11, 2013, did you canvass the area?
I did.
And what does it mean to canvass the area?
But, I had a lot of things going on. So I've got Velasquez doing the crime scene at 2745 on Hayville. I've got Summer Benton, she's down there grinding at the scene at the laundromat. I got people at the hospital. What I wanted to do next was to get and knock on the doors of the people that actually live in the complex where the police shooting originated. And so it was during the afternoon hours. You strike out during those times of day, a lot of time. I still want to knock on those doors to make sure someone didn't hear or see something I could use in this investigation.
And after canvassing the area, did you get any information that assisted you with your investigation?
It was sparse. I mean, I knocked on like 18 doors that were in close proximity to where Velasquez had been working his scene. People heard shots. People heard what they believed to be pops, things of that nature. That was good for my pad, my notepad, to know what I was dealing with. But I had no clear-cut witnesses that saw anything pertinent to the shooting.
Now, after canvassing the area and speaking to witnesses, did you inspect any of the vehicles that were involved in the shooting?
I did a visual inspection of that burgundy Nissan that was rammed into the laundromat.
And did you see anything of note or of evidentiary value within those vehicles? Within
Yeah.
that vehicle?
Yeah, this burgundy Nissan that had crashed into the laundromat, because I got a detective on it, I was doing a quick peek. I saw a firearm in the front passenger floorboard area. I saw 2 more automatic firearms in the back seat right behind the driver and the floorboard. It was bloody cash on the ground, significant damage to the front of the vehicle. And so at that point, I was gonna rely on my detective, Benton in this case, just to kind of give a deep dive into that scene, and she would get back to me.
Outside of seeing the gun in the passenger seat and the 2 guns in the back seat, did you notice any other ballistic evidence in the car?
Well, I saw what I believed to be a hole in the headrest of the front seat, passenger. Now, I don't know if it was old or new, but there was a corresponding busted out vent window on the rear passenger. So my experience is telling me a bullet probably came through here and went through that headrest.
And sorry.
I'm sorry, that was it.
And at that time, did you do anything to determine whether or not there was a path at that time on September 11, 2013?
Not at that time. I just need this detective to work that scene for me. I was gonna, in my mind, go back in a controlled environment and probably ride out the hole. When I say ride out the hole, I was gonna take something that looks just like this, stick it through the hole and see if it corresponds with that busted vent window in the back rear passenger side, and then take a picture of it. I was gonna do that later.
Let me ask you this. When you canvassed the area, you talked about people who noticed or heard some things. Did you take those people's names down and notate that for your records?
Yeah, I put their names down. The ones that answered the door, they gave me their names just to show that I was there. Jotted down some notes of what they may have seen or heard. I'm sorry, heard, because I had no eyewitnesses.
And let me ask you this. During your investigation, did any patrol officers, detectives, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, anyone from Zone 3 or any other department ever advise you of any surveillance footage from the laundromat that had any evidentiary value?
No,
During your investigation, did Detective Summer Benton, who you assigned to process 126 Cleveland Avenue, ever advise you that a patrol officer, detective, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, or any major from Zone 3 or any other department gave her any information about surveillance footage from the laundromat that had any evidentiary value?
no.
Now, after going to the scene and interviewing individuals at the scene, did you ever interview anyone else not at the scene?
Yes,
Who?
Derek Dotson.
Where did you interview Derek Dotson?
I did it at the homicide office that same day.
And what was his demeanor when you interviewed him?
He was lucid. He was clear. He gave me information about what happened to him.
Was he able to tell you, and don't tell me what he said, but was he able to tell you if money was taken from him?
Yes.
You're right, I'm asking if he was able to tell him that, and not what he said.
I'm over with the objection on both grounds, Mr. Steele and Mr. Sharp. You may answer the question, Detective.
Was he able, not what he said, but was he able to provide that information?
Yes, he was.
When you interviewed Derek Dotson, to your knowledge, did Detective A.B. Calhoun observe that interview?
Yes, he did.
With Detective Calhoun, to your knowledge, was he responsible with inventorying that money that you said was found on the ground outside of that red car?
He was.
And after you spoke with Derek Dotson, was Investigator Calhoun able to tell you how much money he inventoried?
Yes.
How much money did he inventory?
$970 cash.
And your Detective Calhoun did testify previously. Okay. Now, during the course of your investigation, did you have Detective Velasquez assist you in interviewing a Detective A.C. Booger?
I did.
And as a part of your investigation, did you learn a description, was A.C. Booker Higgins able to give you a description of, let me back that up. What was your understanding of A.C. Booker Higgins' role in this investigation?
Her role was, she was in the car occupied by Detective Robertsonell, who was the front seat passenger, and another detective by the name of Pope.
Yes, Mr. Steele. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a comfort break? Let's take about 10 minutes, and Detective Quinn will go ahead and let you take a comfort break as well. Don't discuss testimony anybody except the attorneys in this case. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you back in 10 minutes. All rise. All right, recess.
Let's do a recap of Mr. Bean real fast while they on break.
Conversation though, like that. I heard it though.
That was your voice, right?
I heard it.
And on January 22 of 2023, you did remember things from September 11th, 2013.
I really did. I really did. Did it?
Do you remember on direct examination being questioned by the prosecutor? You were asked a lot of questions about a statement that you gave 6 days after September 11th, 2013, which is September 17th, 2013. You remember those questions?
I don't recall the conversation that happened in 2013 to anybody.
Okay. Do you remember being asked those questions?
No, sir. Which one?
About whether you said to a Detective Quinn on recording on September 17, 2013, you were asked those questions. You said, I don't recall. Do you remember all that?
Yeah, I don't recall that conversation that I had with Detective Quinn in 2013.
Okay. Well, just for a foundation, the district attorney did not ask you certain parts of that conversation. I just want to ask you and see if you remember. Do you remember telling Detective Quinn on September 17, 2013 at the Atlanta Homicide office here nearby this courthouse that you lied to the detectives when they first came and talked to you? Do you remember saying that?
I don't recall any conversation that I had with Detective Quinn in 2013, sir.
It doesn't have to be, and I know that's a long time ago. So we don't have to use Detective Quinn. I'm just saying any detective. Do you remember?
I don't recall any conversation I had with anybody in 2013, sir.
All right. Do you recall telling Detective Quinn on the same date, September 17, 2023?
Okay, we back on record.
Deputy Inspector Jackson.
Yes, sir.
All right, all yours,
Yes, sir.
ready? All right.
All right, so Jordan. All duly present, Council.
All right, thank you, Deputy Inspector. Let me see.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Quinn, when we left off, we were getting ready to speak about, Detective Booker Higgins, but before I do that, I'm gonna show you what's already been admitted as Stacy Exhibit 108C. When we reference Derek Dodson, that's the individual that you met with at the homicide unit.
Yes,
Well, mine is the black string across his face.
I recognize.
Just. Okay. Now, going back to Detective Booker Higgins, what was your understanding of her involvement in this case?
She was on scene at the time when Detective Rosenell discharged his firearm.
And when you had Detective Velasquez speak with Booker, did she provide a description of a driver of the vehicle that was involved in this incident?
She did, yes.
And what was the description that was given what was the description that was given?
She gave a description.
Your Honor, Detective Booker Higgins has already testified, so it's not here.
That it was a
I overrule the objection, sir. I overrule the objection.
But what was the,
said it was a female driver.
and did that female driver have any particular hair color?
I think she said pink. I'm not really sure. I can't remember exactly.
Now, at this point in your investigation, were you now looking for a woman as a part of this underlying assault that you were investigating?
Absolutely.
Now, during the course of your investigation, did you also have the occasion to interview a Leonard Pass?
I did.
And was he able to give you information that assisted with your investigation?
He did.
Now, permission to approach? Yes, they should have seen this already in discovery. And I believe I sent them to them previously. Sure. I'm gonna show you what the mark says, it's 111, 112C. You recognize it's 111 and 112C.
I do.
And how do you recognize it's 111 and 112C?
That's the area that I had photograph. I had a crime scene tech come out and take pictures. That's my left hand pointing to the little dot on the ground there.
And is that a very accurate depiction of the image or the area that you had a crime scene tech take a picture of back in September 2013?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, this time to say like Tennessee for the 110 and 111 is happening. I mean, and 112, I'm sorry. Excuse me, 111 and 112 is happening. No, and it's 111 to 112, Your Honor, my apologies. Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to actually first start with what has already been admitted as Exhibit 110C. Looking at Exhibit 110C, do you recognize what's in Exhibit 110C?
Yeah, that's Summerdale Commons.
Okay. And now looking at Exhibit 111C. And looking at 112C. Is that your hand that you were just referencing that's pointing at something in the ground?
That's me.
What exactly were you pointing at the
That
ground?
was what was believed to be impact from a projectile from a gun, bullet.
Now, during the course of your investigation, did you ever attempt to speak with yourself, either Frederick Prothero and Walter Murphy?
Yes.
And were you able to speak with them?
No.
During the course of your investigation, did you ever meet with the owner of the red car that was used in armed robbery?
Yes.
And if you can recall about when in your investigation did you meet with her?
I know it was a couple of weeks after, I'm gonna say the latter part of September 24th or 25th, maybe.
And I said her, do you recall what her name was?
Maricela Cisneros.
And was she able to tell you information about her vehicle? Was she able to give you information about her vehicle, specifically who she had let borrow her car?
She was.
Now, during the course of your investigation, I think you talked about earlier going to do the rodding of the vehicle.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever actually do that with the car?
I did.
And when did you do that? Do you recall?
I don't remember the date. I know it was within the week. I had the car sent to what's called the homicide cage, a protected area we put vehicles in for further processing. My goal was to understand that hole in that passenger side front seat headrest.
Did you, when you processed the vehicle, did you, or did the rodding in the vehicle, did you find any shell casings within that vehicle?
I did not.
Mr. Steele? And understanding what you knew at the time that you processed the vehicle, was that a surprise for you that you did not find any shell casings inside the vehicle?
I mean, it wasn't a surprise. I mean, shell casings are fickle. You don't know where they're gonna go. You don't always find them.
In a moment, I'll be showing some pictures that I've already shown the defense counsel, but I'm re-showing to them again. Commissioner Proshara? I'm gonna show you the part that's showing the fence council 161 through 174. You should take a moment and look at 161 through 174.
Okay, I'm done.
I'm looking at Exhibit 161C through 174C. Do you recognize those pictures?
Yeah, that's that burgundy Nissan Altima that was in the homicide cage. That I wanted to get those rides through.
And are those pictures of the vehicle at the homicide cage?
Yes, ma'am.
And do those pictures appear to be a fair and accurate depiction of the car at the homicide cage when you went to process or do the ride out of that vehicle?
Yes.
You're right. This time the state would like to tender Exhibit 161C through 174C into evidence.
Any objections to state 161, C through 174, C? On behalf of Mr. Wade, hearing no further objection, 161, Charlie, and 174, Charlie, and they be policies.
Thank you, Your Honor. Looking at Exhibit 161C, if you can just orient the jury as to what we're looking at in Exhibit 161C.
This is just a front view of the car that made impact with 126 Cleveland at the Coin Laundry.
And let me ask you this, how does the car get from the Coin Laundry to the homicide cage?
A record, a C contracted record service.
And is that the record that you were referencing or talking about when we listened to the Nava Flores interview when you asked him, is that the red car on the record right there?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
All right. Now, going to 162C. Is that appear just to be another angle of the vehicle inside the house? What's in Exhibit 162C?
It's just a front end view of where that vehicle made impact with the laundromat.
All right. 163?
That's the rear trunk compartment of the same vehicle and a rear view.
And looking at 163C, is the top of the trunk on the car? The actual roof of the trunk?
I don't see where it is. I'm not seeing it.
Okay.
Looks like it's just off.
Looking at Exhibit 164C. What are the jurors looking at 164C?
This is that area of concern for me. Again, I'm investigating the actions of a police officer using deadly force. That's what my mind is. That vent window, the rear passenger view is what I'm concerned with and how it may correspond with that headrest in that front seat. I got a man shot in the back. I got to explain that.
And looking at Exhibit 165C.
That's a closer view of that same rear passenger vent window. You can also see the airbag deployed from the driver's side.
166C.
That's another view. We're getting closer. You can see that defect to the right side of that headrest. That's my area of concern. That's a through and through hole, and that was of paramount concern to me at the time.
Now look at 167C.
That's gonna be the rear passenger compartment of that burgundy Nissan owned by Mrs. Cisneros. You can see blood transfer. There's some items on the floor.
Now, at the time, did you request for any testing or anything to be done with the blood that was in the backseat of that vehicle?
Not the blood, no.
Why not?
I didn't think it was, I knew I had a shot person in the backseat, so I wasn't gonna send off to the GBI to make sure that was blood. I mean, they don't.
All right. 168C. What are we looking at 168C?
Well, this is a very rudimentary, not very scientific. It's just a brother taking the stick. That's all I did, and running it through that hole because I'm trying to tell the story. I'm working this deadly force case, and I want to make sure that was going to be a path of a possible bullet fired by the Atlanta police.
And at the time when you're doing this, did you have information of the officer shooting into or in the direction of the vehicle?
Based off his statement, the way he broke it down, I had a pretty good idea exactly what happened.
Looking at Exhibit 169C. What are we looking at Exhibit 169C?
This is going to be an interior view of the same information, those rods. I've actually got them now going through, showing the trajectory, which corresponds with the wound that the 6'8" Mr. Frederick Prothro had to his back. Thank God the brother was 6'8", or it would have been in his head.
And outside of that bullet hole in the vehicle, did you notice any other bullet holes within the vehicle?
I did not.
Okay. Looking at Exhibit 170C.
It's another closer view showing the trajectory. That hole where it originates at the rear of that headdress, it's actually coming through. And I believe that is the wound that Mr. Frederick Prothro received from the Atlanta police.
Looking at Exhibit 171C, is that just another close-up?
That's just another of the same.
Okay. 172.
It's a closer view of the rod actually coming through the headdress.
And 173. And again, 174.
173 is also the very same thing. 74 is that's me actually holding it. Very unscientific, but just trying to tell a story.
Now, you talked about not finding any shell casings. I want to go back to Exhibit 167C for a moment. Now, when you were at the homicide cage, were you able to observe this vehicle in this condition as it is in this picture?
Yes,
Okay, how tall are you?
6'1".
Looking at that photo and your personal observation of looking at that vehicle, are you able to fit in the backseat of that car?
Yeah, I'm being crunched, but I'll be back there.
All right. Now, when you got to the homicide cage, was this the condition that you found that vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you know, or to your knowledge, were there items in the car prior to you seeing it at the homicide cage?
On the 126 Cleveland Avenue address, there were 3 firearms that were of particular concern to me, which I had collected by the officer I delegated for the detective, Somerville, to collect.
Do you recall? Shorty was been admitted as basic exhibit, defense exhibit JW 158, 159, 160, I believe it's only through 169. Sure. And I actually may need this. Show you, and Mr. Capone can help. Need the JW Exhibit 157. Looking at Exhibit 157, do you foresee those items while we're back at the Ron scene, like on September 11th?
I don't remember seeing it. I mean, and I wasn't looking for them. Honestly, I mean, I delegated that out. Had a lot going on. Those guns were of importance to me at the time.
And this is that you delegate out to Summer Baker.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do it all. You've got to depend on the people you work with to actually, execute what you needed to do. I'm in the fog of investigation. I need help, like everybody else.
So I'm gonna look at 157. Looking at Exhibit 157, can you describe to the jury how that toolbox is positioned? Is it laying flat on the seat or is it kind of raised up a little?
It looks like the front end of it is on the seat and then it's propped up against the back of the back seat. It's like driver's side back seat.
And is the glove underneath the toolbox?
Yeah, I see some transfer from what appears to be left there.
And figure out, you have any idea how the items got on the seat or those items are actually in the toolbox prior to this picture?
I don't know anything about that.
That's it, thank you so much. Items such as that, would you have had those processed or taken to GBI crime lab process?
I wouldn't.
Why not?
I didn't feel they had anything to do with the case I was investigating. It was paramount concern is the officers use of deadly force. I had a good idea of what happened in that scene. We don't just send arbitrary items to the GBI for testing. That's a call I made. They can blame me, but I didn't think they were relevant.
Now, before we move on to the next scene, what you testified so far is a couple of things that. When did this incident occur?
9/11/2013.
During the course of your investigation, did you get jail calls in this case?
I did.
Tell us a little bit about what are jail calls?
Jail calls are information stored on some server at the jail for anyone incarcerated that makes phone calls.
And how does an individual who's incarcerated make those jail calls? Do they have a PIN number? What's the process?
I don't know how they make the call, but I know how we can listen to them as law enforcement.
How do you all listen to them as law enforcement?
So there's an app that they gave us access to. When I say they, I'm talking about the police department, the Atlanta police. At that time, you could actually punch in and listen to people in real time almost with your cell phone. It was that far advanced. You could listen to specific conversations based off the name of the inmate.
And when you listen to those calls, do you know if they are in an area called bookend or if they're in general population? Are you able to determine that?
I can't determine from where I sit, as I recall 10 years ago. I just know that usually when people are talking, you can.
Let me get some more water.
Have you had the occasion to have or listen to calls the individuals make when they first get into the jail?
Yes,
And then listen to more calls once they've been in jail and maybe have won the general population?
yes.
Now, in this case, when did you pull jail calls in this case? For what date range?
Well, I wanted 9/11. You know, that's the first significant date that sticks out, but I wanted to see if there were any calls.
At the time on 9/11, how many people out of the three that you said were detained were actually taken to the Fulton County Jail?
Just one,
Who was that?
Adrian Bean.
And did you pull the jail calls for Mr. Adrian Bean?
I did.
When did you actually start listening to the jail calls?
It was several days. I think around the 16th, if I'm not mistaken.
Would you have put that date in your police report?
Yes.
I'm looking at a copy of your police report, help refresh your memory as to when you started listening.
Okay.
Okay, is that yes?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna show you what's been marked as exhibit 178C. Just flip to that, so if you recognize exhibit 178C.
Yeah, I recognize this as my supplementals.
And is that a fair and accurate depiction of your supplementals regarding this case, the officer involved shooting?
Yes, ma'am.
And again, we're looking at a copy that help refresh your memory as to the date in which you started listening to jail calls.
Okay.
And I'll specifically direct your attention to page 30 of 47. At the top and at the bottom, it might say 42.
To 47,
30 of 47.
30 or 47.
And I apologize, it might be 32 of 47.
This one, for whatever reasons, I had an order, went back to 20. You say, hold on, it might be big. User error, I'm sorry. Hold on. Yeah, 9/16/13.
And when you started listening to jail calls on 9/16/13, did you get calls that were in between these?
I don't remember, I don't remember that.
Would it be safe to say that any calls you would have heard would have had to happen before you listened to
Oh,
them?
yeah, absolutely.
So roughly between 9/11. In preparation for this case today, have you had an opportunity to listen to some of those jail calls that you pulled back in September of 2013?
Yes, ma'am.
And listen to those calls, are they a fair and accurate depiction of the calls that you pulled back in September of 2013?
Yes, ma'am.
And did there appear to be any additions or deletions to those calls that were made, that you pulled back in September 2013?
No.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would like to show Detective Quinn, Exhibit 175, which contains calls A through C. Your Honor, State's Exhibit 175A was already admitted yesterday. State's Exhibit, 175 Charlie Alpha was already admitted yesterday, Your Honor. what is State's Exhibit 175 Charlie Bravo is actually a duplication of Defense Exhibit 205. So they've already been admitted. The other three ones, Your Honor, would be new exhibits, which would be State's Exhibits 175 Charlie Delta Echo. Yes, 175 Charlie Alpha Blue Echo. Just because they were on the bus, so they knew so when he was it was prior to when we were putting it on. So I had already labeled it. I did identify two of the three that are the newer calls that have not been admitted. I identify one and I'll call it for the purposes of this, the chicken call, because it stands out because she's talking about cooking fried chicken. The second call after that is a call where she's at the baseball game, and that's very identifiable. It is the third call that I advised that I will ask the court if we can take a brief break so I can just identify which call that is so they can know. But I've identified that 2 of the 3 calls.
Okay, do you have any specific objections to those 2 calls? Not the third one. Mr. Shields, please don't try to make the conversation. You're not prepared. Because if you're prepared, you would have told me, you invited this conversation. I did. I asked you if you were ready. If you were ready, you said, yes, Judge, I'm ready.
That man's so biased. Look how he talking to that man. That ain't count ground way.
I'll go ahead and figure out something else to do. But if you have any other basis, then tell me. And race is already, we know exactly what I'm talking about. No, I should go ahead and we need to ask for. How long is this? It's only, they're all 15 minutes.
Right, and I will say for the 3rd call, Your Honor, really as it relates to this particular incident, there's only 2 relevant areas from 00 to 1 minute, and then 3 minutes and 50 seconds to 6:40 are the only relevant parts, I believe, for this particular matter.
You shouldn't even allow it if you haven't gave it to those attorneys. Point blank, period. He need to stop letting y'all invite
So all the calls, Mr.
evidence
All
at the
calls are
last minute.
approximately 15 minutes.
Shit
The
is
state
stupid.
does intend to play all 5 calls.
No, I'm talking about the third. I'm talking about the third.
I need to remove him off the bench.
All right, tell you what, we'll 20 minutes be sufficient for you to review short. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna take 20 minutes. After that, we'll come back. Continue with the. We'll see you in 20 minutes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. You take the seat, please, okay? Yes, sir. Why need to listen to the call?
You don't adjourn this break. When we come back, we'll just want to know a decision about the transcript, because we do have a transcript for the 1st call. And that was the one we gave to them yesterday, so just a decision
Well, I
about,
thought you were gonna take more time for that because
they have not looked at it. Okay, never mind, thank you.
She already knew that shit.
we're in recess about 20 minutes. In regards to what, sir? Okay, what's your motion?
Mr. Steele mad as hell.
This is the 2nd time that this honorable court in front of the jury has addressed me inappropriately and wrongly. 2nd time. The 1st time I gave the state discovery of a song from a Super Bowl. Weeks before, there was an objection. You assumed that I didn't give it to the state. I didn't want to embarrass the court. So you were yelling at me and saying, do you
Like
understand
you a damn
me? Do you
child.
understand me? And instead of saying, do you understand that you're wrong? I sat here and I said, yes, Your Honor. That was to protect the integrity of this courtroom and the court.
Come on now, Mr. Steele.
Now, you say in front of the jury how unprepared I am. I am not unprepared for anything.
Okay.
I have
Mr.
no.
Steele,
I need to make
Mr.
a
Steele,
record. Your Honor, I need
Mr. Steele,
to
wait a
make this
second.
record.
When you keep delaying, okay, and that's what's happening to the court. You keep delaying.
No, you delaying, talking about comfortable fucking breaks. You delaying it. Come in at 12. Come in at 1. You delaying.
Purview as a judge.
This damn case gonna go on until 10 years from now.
And listen to whatever it is you need to do. Prepare me as needed. Now, I asked you those 2 particular questions because
He still got his motherfucking voice up.
The audio to you in discovery.
He won't be able to talk to me like that, judge or no
You
judge.
either have an objection or you don't have an objection. And I was trying to.
You biased as
solicit
hell,
from you whether or
motherfucker.
not we could just go ahead and just hear it. So you can imagine my frustration because all these.
Now everybody should be frustrated.
Just elongate out the whole our presentation in front of the jury.
You full of
That's for
shit.
your benefit, not for mine, Your Honor.
Talking that
So-
man like he a damn child.
So that's why I've told you all at various times during this particular case. It's not because I want to embarrass you, Mr. Steele.
Shit,
It's
that's
just
what
that
you doing.
I'm trying to kind of keep this thing.
You ain't
presented
doing shit.
in
You
a
ready to
way
eat
that the
right
jury
now.
can listen to it. And the court is wrong.
You
Okay,
ready to eat right now.
And I'm making
And
this
just
clear.
got there.
What happened is, and I don't get embarrassed.
Report
by
his
you,
ass.
But I don't want to embarrass you. I made
Report
an
his
objection
ass.
that some of these jail calls have a third party who will not testify. I objected to hearsay. The state said it explains the effect.
Okay, which
let me
call?
finish.
Which call?
That's right.
Which call? These calls, as you.
Okay, well then why aren't we taking them up beforehand?
The state just said just now. These are the 3 additional calls that they want.
Okay, all right. Well, then here's your response. I'm going to give you an acceptable response.
I'm going
Judge,
to make
hold
my
on.
motion.
Huh?
I need to make my motion.
Judge, there's more to this, and we need to listen to these calls.
Fine.
Then I would have no. You didn't say that though. So
Hell, he ain't got to say it the way the fuck you want to say it. What the fuck?
That's why I keep telling you this. Okay, I mean, like I told you, forewarned judge, a happy judge. All right. So had you just told me up front, Judge, we have not had the opportunity to listen to all of those calls. We've only been able to listen to 2. I want to listen to the other.
The
ones.
only queen, how are you doing? Yeah, this judge is full of shit, period. He's talking to that man like he a fucking child.
So you presuppose.
Madam
I don't
this,
know what
madam
the
that.
call- I don't know what the third call is because Miss Hilton, who's professional, said.
And he
"Okay,
sit up and do
let's
them
go."
them attorneys like they ain't shit.
And
They can keep it need to be a deadline for all this new
I
discovery.
understand those calls. There's issues in. those
They
calls
on
that you
day
need to
45 or
address.
something like that. They still invite new evidence in this damn trial. It's gonna continue to keep on going over and over and over. This shit is stupid.
You
at
tell
this
in front of
point.
the jury how unprepared I am. And let me tell you something. I am not unprepared. I don't appreciate the court telling me that. And you don't.
That's right,
and
Mr.
I
Steele.
asked you, tell the
Stand
jury
up
how
for
they're
your
wrong.
fucking rights.
When you admonished me last time, you said you wouldn't do that. This is the second time.
The second
You know
time,
what
it's gonna be a
I don't
third.
care.
It's gonna be a third if you don't get it
I
straight.
don't care. But what does it do to Mr. Williams?
Mr. Steele, I'm not trying to personally insult you.
Yes,
or
the
hurt your
fuck you
feelings,
is.
okay? You are a grown professional advocate. I am a grown professional jurist. And people
And
say
shit,
things
you
to me
don't
that
act like it,
border on-
sir.
border on the lines
You
of
don't
taking
act like
action
it.
or not. You've certainly said some of
Dr.
those things to me
Phil.
during the trial of this case. I have let them go. So, sir, that's just the trial. That's just the trial of the case. Okay,
No,
but
that man's life is here.
and you
That's the
I
truth.
know you're doing a fine job of representing him.
Well,
But you know what? That's just the way we are right now. But the crux of the issue is
No,
Mr. Steele
apologize to that damn
and
man.
the representatives from the state and
You
everybody
full of
else.
shit.
What happens right now?
Miss
is
Love,
I
all
have to
y'all
take a
ass.
break
Full of
in
shit.
order to vet all of these issues, which I'm required to do, Mr. Steele. And that's what is kind of disappointing to me, because I have given you all this administrative time, all these breaks to go ahead and do this, and this is what delays the presentation of this case in front of the jury.
You know, if
I
would
have
done
been
what the
watching,
state did, I'm not
let me
talking
see.
anything at Ms. Sullivan.
The queen
You
only.
would've said to me, why didn't you share those calls with them?
The only
before?
queen.
What-
Let me
were
tell
out
you
all
this.
day
I've
today.
been watching
You didn't
this
start
stuff.
work till 1
It's
o'clock.
just,
I would've shared
this
it.
case is,
Like what happened.
I don't understand. It's blown out of proportion, if you ask me. You just got a man that was on there all these days talking about he don't recall. I don't know. I heard it. And this, that, and another. They shouldn't even let him been on the stand this damn long for somebody to not answer nothing. This man have not answered nothing. That last man that was on this stand that they got rid of yesterday.
Take those things up before I ask
He
for
have
it.
not
And I
answered
could've done
shit.
that.
And the only thing they did is let that man sit there with that bullshit. It ain't no way he should have been there. They should have escorted his bitch ass back to the fucking jailhouse. That's where he should have went. And like that man just stated, this man's life is on the line. All those young men' life is on the line. But they want to sit there with the bullshit, instead of bringing in evidence.
Today alone.
It should be a deadline for all this shit. But they don't want them to do it, but they can do
You
it.
know what I did? No problem. No problem. Because I think that's
Me
professional.
too. I feel like it should be thrown out myself.
For the record, that it was not done on September 11, 2013, and then a
I feel the same way.
With 0.4 miles.
They ain't gonna throw it out. They still want to go with the tax citizen dollars and shit and all that different stuff. It's a waste of fucking time. Those jurors that's on there, I know these people sick of this shit. And look at Miss Love. I'm so sick of that bald head bitch. I don't know what the fuck to do. Somebody gonna slap that hoe across her goddamn head.
What am I supposed to do?
She ready to jump her ass up right now. Look at her shaking her damn bitch ass head.
And the courts teach me to do. But instead, no. I gotta finish it.
He don't even want to hear what the man's saying. All right.
To this court says by Prosecutor Love that I'm not being candid with the court and I'm misrepresenting because Mr. Bean never went to the hospital of Grady on September 11, 2013, and Miss Love has
Yes, picking motherfuckers up off the goddamn street.
Your honor at the table
And look at Miss Love, bald head ass sitting up there. She ready to jump her bitch ass up.
Down on me, and she said it is accurate.
Full
We
of
said we'll
fucking
take a break,
shit.
figure it out.
That's it and that's all.
You didn't even bat an eye. Miss Love said, "Yeah, I was totally wrong." Mr.
Oh, he
Steele
gonna
was
go
right.
along with Miss Love.
If I would have done that,
Allegedly, if you ask me, he might be fucking her.
disingenuous, not truthful, no candor, and misrepresenting, you would have had me yelling in front of a jury. You did nothing. You didn't even ask Miss Love to apologize. I don't want her apology. I
Huh.
don't care about
Okay.
but I care about the court. And now, if you can walk in someone else's
She
shoes,
ready
just
to
look
jump
and
up.
see what
She
you do
ready to jump
to
her
Mr.
bitch
Williams.
ass up.
Because it's hurtful. I'm not the one wasting time. I'm here every day, ready to go. I am not wasting the time.
Tell him who wasting it
I make a
then.
motion to ask you to please recuse yourself. I know it has to be in writing within 5 days. If you want me to do that, I'll do it. And it has to go to another judge. But this is what's going on, Your Honor, whether you see it or not. You're
He don't
yelling
wanna
at me
see
in
it.
front of a jury for nothing. And then you want to apologize. And I did nothing wrong ever.
And
you
this
did.
here is so dirty. That's so dirty and embarrassing.
At this point in time. I'm gonna deny your motion at this point.
You
in time.
denying every motherfucking thing anyway. That man had two motions today. You denied them all.
I have the responsibility to control the proceedings in this particular circumstance. Sometimes things get kind of heated, and that's that's the crucible and trial of any particular case. I am
You a
not
lie.
in any way intimating or insinuating that you are not professional, you are not prepared.
You just said that. You just said
I am
that.
bringing up to both
You
of
just said he
and I
wasn't
have-
prepared. But you retracting your statement, sir. sir.
This particular issue of not being prepared in the sense of, and the only
Dr.
reason
Phil, you lying.
it affects the trial of the case is
What's affecting the fucking trial is every fucking day you late getting there because your big hungry ass want to go and eat your bald head ass.
parse out all these things. As you can see right now, it takes time, and that's what I'm kind of concerned about, having been a jurist for a long time. So, I understand that you're a zealous
Okay, we the
advocate.
people of the
You in
community
no way offend me by
demands
by
the
raising
charges
any type of
drop
motion.
on the young man
I think you're
and
doing that. I
Robert
think that
Kelly,
you're representing you and
released
the
due
others here
to
representing
the
your
law
clients
broke the
well.
law
But
and to get
sir,
a
I have
conviction.
to be able to control the
Honey,
proceedings.
I'm gonna tell you, it's
You
a
at
whole
times
mess. You
these
hear me?
proceedings have not listened to what the courts told you, and I certainly could have explored other options. I didn't.
They is railroading these black men. That's what they doing.
For what it's worth.
All
But
these
now,
fucking
member of the
days
bar
of this
yesterday
trial going on in
asked
this
the witness
bullshit.
who constantly is
It's
committing
bullshit.
respectfully
This
potentially
man keep
perjury.
on trying to address
And Mr.
something to this
Steele shut off
bitch
and turned
ass
on the
bald
recording.
headed
I never did that.
Uncle
I won't
Phil
do
looking
that. I didn't
motherfucker.
do that. Okay, but sir,
But he
that's
for the
that's
damn
sir,
state.
that's not
That's
what
just
this is
it, and
about.
that's all.
About another member of the bar, prosecution, you would have come over the bench and said, "How dare you?" I sat there and I said, "Outrageous." You
Okay, but
denied the motion. I think 3 other people made motions to strike.
Sure
or to
did.
object. You denied it.
He'll
Judge,
denied
I'm
all
telling
y'all.
you,
He
parents,
did.
it's not the reality.
And he ain't
It's
fucking
not
right
the
for it. And y'all need to get somebody that's higher than him to remove his fat head ass up off of there. Because y'all ain't gonna have no fair trial.
Okay, and that separate issue of whether
It
or not
will not be
you
a
would
fair
keep your
trial.
state
You can look
accused-
at it how it's going.
accuse you of that. They have the right to
All
at
these
least
fucking
inquire whether or not
sidebars.
that happened. And whether or not it happened or not, I'm not making any comment on it, but it goes to bias, it goes to motives to misrepresent. So, but
That never
You
happened.
biased.
okay, but I'm not
Yeah,
commenting.
you
I'm not
are.
commenting on that. That's for the jury. That's for the jury to decide.
I asked a question about a missing.
If the jury had any sense, they'll throw that shit out of there.
Mr. Bean, I know you told me.
Not
I keep
guilty.
telling
No, you told me. You said, does the state have it? They said no. You said nothing I can do. I tried to cross on it. You sustained an objection.
Because it doesn't exist at this point in time. Now, if it exists at some point, I will.
Study getting loud like that man a fucking
I
child.
apologize to you. And then 2, I'll take corrective action
Honor.
against.
Now
this
you want to
party.
apologize. He gonna, oh.
But the point is, everyone knows he spoke to the detective
But we don't-
beforehand.
You better start standing together better than we have been. Hey, you said something.
And that's
On
true.
September
You said
17th,
something.
2013, on recording, Mr. Bean tells that.
You got these
Detective
blacks
Quinn,
going against the
how is
black,
that
not trying to
far
sound
fetched?
racist or nothing. I know everybody got a job to do, but you can look at this thing and tell that it's a bunch of
Why would you
bullshit.
ever say that? I mean, logic has
She
to come
started
into
shaking
play.
her bald ass fucking head.
But you
That bitch
stopped
make
from
me
doing it
fucking
to
sick.
allow another lawyer make up that I'm stopping and starting a recording, and he says, "Well, I don't recall. I don't remember anything."
Here's the thing.
Look,
There-
can't say, look. She
That's
ready to
why
say something, look.
Ms. Love asked me to put it under seal for the time being, but I mean, I'm not saying anything, but if truth.
Her ass itching, baby. She ready to say something.
If true, I'll die right now.
Come on now.
That Judge Glanville.
Your Honor, I object to this.
I don't care.
No, you ain't got no business saying nothing, you bald head ass bitch.
Okay,
I'm speaking
let
with
me
the
finish
court.
and then you can,
No, you need to tell her to sit the fuck down.
You don't see what's going on
She ain't spoke none today and she shouldn't say a bitch ass thing.
out of the lens
But
of a
Mr.
juror.
Steele, I can't do that. I have to be the referee.
You doing it for them bitches.
The jury decides those particular issues of believability and credibility. Now, I'm not getting into the throes of war between you and the state. That's your business, and
I
that
have
is
nothing
certainly
to do with a third war.
no. But I mean,
Oh,
that's your ability as an
oh,
advocate.
oh,
That's what I told you
oh,
before.
oh,
That's your
oh.
ability as an advocate. All right.
What I'm saying
I
is,
can't stand this
it's a
fucking
jury,
judge.
professional,
I can't
not
stand that fucking Miss Love.
I think at that
Oh,
point in time, given
oh,
the totality of
Lord.
what happened,
Thank you. I
that's
don't
what the
live
court's
in
assessment
Georgia.
was.
Because them
Sir,
people is
I
so
am
fucked up there.
wrong. It's a snippet in time.
We sure
Mr.
is
Steele,
in a spiritual
look,
welfare
But I'm a professional jurist, and you may not like some of the
We
rulings
sure
I
is.
make, and you may not like the way that
Got
the
me
way that
goddamn
that
tongue twisted right
trial is
about now.
going
I
as you
wish
could
I
put them.
could
That's
take
for
some
all
and knock that
advocates, Ms. Love
motherfucker
and
head
her
loose
colleagues.
right
I
about now.
told them the same thing, but I
Don't
think
be
that
calm now.
the
They
judges, the
need
referees,
to
give
get
you a fair
somebody to get him up out of there.
what I'm gonna do. Well, I hope that's true. But you just told the jury I'm prepared. And I am prepared.
And he need to go back before the jury and apologize. He said it before him. He need to apologize before him.
That I have to then listen to this to rule on it.
I understand, but I'm the only one that the jurors here, the court, take ire with.
That's the truth.
Without an apology, without.
Oh, I've taken. I think I've taken.
They
Ms.
show
Love's
wicked,
facility
baby.
and, her
They
colleagues have
wicked.
asked many times. No,
He
I
need to
think-
apologize to that man the same way he defamed his character just then, said that he was unprepared. Say it in front of him. Sorry ass.
So I ask
Bald
for
headed
continuing
Uncle
refusal
Phil looking
of
bitch.
motion. And I know it's not in writing, but I assume that you're ruling on it right now. That's what you're saying. Well, when are you gonna put it in writing? But I mean, I'll rule on it at this point in time. I'm gonna deny the motion. But
You deny every motherfucking thing. Okay.
That's what you wish to do.
What's next?
And I'll appropriate. I'm also
Hell.
asking for a mistrial. based
God
on
damn
the
it, you
decision.
bald headed bitch, you.
I'm asking for a mistrial.
They need to remove all your bitch asses up off of there. Y'all full of shit.
Okay. I don't want to ask for a mistrial, but I have no choice when the court is
No,
saying
don't
what
hate
it
to do
says.
nothing,
That's
Mr.
my
Steele. Do
position.
your motherfucking job.
In front of a jury, that's hurtful.
Put it on
I'm
record.
not saying me. I mean, regardless of what I think of it, it's hurtful to Mr. Williams getting a fair trial.
Hey, one papoose. Charlie done ran my pressure up.
In terms of,
I'm cussing them motherfuckers out over here. This is my reaction to these bitches today. I came ready today.
I told you all both sides. I told you.
He needs to apologize to that man the same way he defamed his character in front of those people before the jury and that goddamn man that he got on the stand now with his wannabe professional
But you know, it's
motherfucking
timing.
ass that done been at home
I mean, did you raise it when
11
we
years.
got here this afternoon? Did you raise it yesterday? Did you raise it kind of so I could kind of take it at that point in time? No,
Shut
you
your
didn't.
ass up, cause you lying. Every time they give you something, you throw it out.
I could have raised it. The two others are already in.
Speak your piece, Mr. Steele.
Okay.
God got you,
All right. Let's look.
dirty motherfucker. Miss Love bald head ass shouldn't say shit. She shouldn't have nothing to say. That bald headed bitch ain't spoke all day, so why is he letting her talk? Bias. That man just fucking bias, period. Full of shit. Her ass was itching in the inside. She had to get up. I seen it in her bitch ass.
Offline without having to have the actual
Dirty
CD,
bitch.
and we have had them converted for them. The objection that we got initially was put to the call that Mr. Steele essentially put in by playing the recording of the interview that Detective Quinn did with Adrian B. And the whole
I mean,
general
this is
report
just so
that was
sick.
played during that interview was State's Exhibit.
Watch he be on her
175.
side. Watch this, y'all. I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna shut the fuck up and let y'all listen to what he gonna say.
That third party portion, and we had a motion
Uncle
on it.
Phil looking
They
bald
actually
headed
introduced by
motherfucker.
playing the interview with Detective Quinn. I have said to them, I'm certain that Ms. Hilton has communicated with them via email that we are using the jail call.
His show
And
about
I
to be
know I
exposed
personally
real
asked,
soon.
what do you object?
And they need to lock
So,
their ass up.
at this point, I'm not certain why there is this motion. I object to the language that is used. I'll die if the court does this. Your Honor, the court is well aware of the times that the state has received reprimand, both in front of and out of the presence of the jury. I'm not certain where that's coming from. I would ask that the court, of course, the court has already ruled, but the notion that there's a bias, I'm not certain even where that's coming from, given the amount of tongue lashings we've received from the court on the state side. So I would just object to the defendant being granted a mistrial. And I state for the record that the portion that they identified for us that they objected to regarding the jail calls was entered through their cross-examination of the witness Adrian B. Thank you.
What about the sealed document? Mr. Steele is raised or made an issue of at this point.
With relation to the sealed document, that was a memorandum of the interaction that a lieutenant with the district attorney's office had with a party as it relates to Mr. Steele's interaction with that party, unsolicited, after walking out from the stand. That party made comments to members of the district attorney's office. The state asked that party, and we did not assume facts that were not in evidence. We asked, unlike the question, why did you do this? Or why did you do that? Which would assume facts that were not in evidence. We asked the open-ended question with a good faith basis for doing so, and with an ability to impeach if there was a denial of having said it. So we didn't make that up out of whole cloth. We wanted to make certain that all parties on the defense side had that memorandum. And frankly, Your Honor, I think it is improper for anyone, for certainly any member of the bar, to stand up during the cross-examination, direct examination, and offer testimony essentially to a jury. So for Mr. Steele to stand up in the middle of my redirect of Adrian B and to say that did not occur, or preposterous, or outlandish.
It looked like it's on right.
Completely improper, disrespectful. The state has done nothing of the sort, and we would ask.
Y'all done a lot of shit, lady.
For doing so, and the court rightly did so, and to have him ask for an apology after he has been blatantly, improperly acting before the jury, I don't know what else I could say. I would just ask that the court admonish counsel for testifying during trial. I have given the state, the court, the basis for the questions that I've asked. I have never asked a question that assumes facts that are not in evidence. Unlike the question, why did you know that? Do you recall that? I didn't phrase my questions like that because I know not to do that. And I'm not gonna do that. And I don't want to improperly give the jury an impression of something that exists or that will be shown that I can't show them. So there's a real clear distinction in what Mr. Steele asked, implying, why did you give a statement at the hospital? And he keeps conflating what it is that is objectionable. He keeps asserting something so that everybody in the ethos is asking, oh, where is this interview? Where's this recording? He's never seen one. He doesn't have a good faith basis asking for one. And yet he continues to put that question out there so that everyone in the universe has this idea, oh, the state is hiding something. Oh, the state destroyed evidence. Again, they sat there for a whole day asking witnesses about the destruction of evidence. There's no evidence that anybody destroyed any evidence, yet they stood there a whole day and asked someone about that. And then he asks a witness on the stand under the guise of impeaching him, do you recall that?
This bitch sitting up here talking about some shit that happened the other day. Because that's what y'all gonna do, impeach his ass.
Failed to record your interview at the hospital, and he has no information that an interview at the hospital exists. So all of that, Your Honor, I don't know if Mr. Steele wants, to give an impression. I don't know. He's vigorously advocating for his client. That's what he is supposed to do. But I would ask that the court deny all of his motions. They are baseless. And I would ask.
No, you did.
My licks from the court, we all have. And I'd ask that the court deny the motion for recusal. The court has made rulings that obviously the state hasn't agreed with. The court has made rulings that other people haven't agreed with. So this notion that somehow the court is biased.
Y'all are. You are.
Days ago, I caught it hard as it was played everywhere. I'd ask that the court just deny Mr. Steele's motions, all of them, out of hand.
All right.
And he can't say nothing but all right.
Do you have any explanation as to why this third call was just disclosed today? Is that true? Is Mr. Steele correct?
No, he is not, Your Honor. These calls have been turned over. As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready.
Y'all just turned the motherfuckers over yesterday. You just gave them to him yesterday. It should be a deadline for this shit.
Literally on January 5th, and I'm getting ready to
Oh,
the process of forwarding these calls. Mr. Smith sent these calls on January 5th, all of them. I believe a few weeks ago, and this is the email that I'm looking for, when this case was first going to happen, probably in December, when we were to disclose to defense counsel what media we were going to use. I believe in one of those emails, and that is what I am looking for, I told defense counsel we're going to use all of the jail recordings. So this is not a surprise to them that we're using the jail calls. The only call that has ever been objected to is the first call that was played yesterday. They have not made an objection to any call. Now, they just want to know which of the 8 calls this is. The state has no problem to do that. But to say that they just received the calls or they just learned about the calls, that is not true. They've known about the calls. Now, for me to identify this last call, I can do that. And I'm going to look for the email, or it might have been conversation in court. But when they asked, what media will you use? I think I said, we're going to use all the jail calls. And we're not actually using all the jail calls. We're going to use 5 of them. So this is not new evidence for defense counsel.
Sir.
About and maybe this will give a path moving forward that's a little bit more efficient, hopefully. There are thousands of jail calls in this case. So-
Your Honor, hold on. Not for this case, for Acts 5 to 7 specifically.
They won't even let the people fucking talk.
For this case. So they gave about 10, 12, however many jail calls. They're saying, I'm not going to dispute that. I don't have my computer in front of me. But it seems very inefficient to me that we're going to litigate, and you want us, the defense, to raise our objections to thousands or even 12 jail calls and suggest redactions for all these jail calls.
But when did you get the jail calls? When did they tell you? Didn't they tell you like within a week or two, like I asked before, that they were going to use these calls?
So, Your Honor, they just identified one is the chicken call. That's not how they are in discovery. So there's a cross-reference number. So we need to know exactly what call by the cross-reference number in discovery. There's nothing labeled chicken call. There's nothing.
All right, but listen, is there a certain number of calls for this particular act or acts? Yes or no?
I can't, I don't have the email in front of me. So
Yes, okay, so there's how many? 8, 10 calls? How many?
Your Honor, there's actually 8 calls, and 2 of them were duplicates. And so in the
Okay,
email
so-
that I broke down,
So in preparation, you know that if this particular act, which we've been dealing with for weeks, you only got about 12 calls to listen to, right?
So, yes, so you would like us to proactively state our objections for every call and litigate, because they're not using every call.
Only if it becomes an issue, because if you all work it out, that's fine. I don't have any issue with that. But if it's going to be an issue, then I need to be able to vet it. I got to listen to the call. I got to listen to the evidentiary basis as to why it should be admitted or not admitted. That just gives me time to do that. And if you say it's only going to take about 15 minutes or whatever, well, it may take longer than that. You see how long we've been out dealing with this issue.
Shit, it's
that's what I
4:28.
mean by forewarned judge is a happy judge. So if we could take it up and I don't have to either have them sit in their headquarters, it's better for all of you.
I do not dispute anything you're saying, Your Honor. All I'm doing is suggesting that if
They
last
finna
night
end the day.
or
They're just
yesterday
all
we
finna end. Look at this
told
bitch.
tomorrow
Look at this
we plan on
bitch.
playing this call. It
Easing up.
wasn't
Listen,
the
look at this
chicken call
bitch.
or the whatever call. It
It's
was
fault.
whatever the number is in the discovery or on the email, then we would certainly, I would say it would be on us. But that's not exactly what happened. I just want you on, and I'm not trying to, I really like Miss Hilton a lot, so I'm not even trying to argue with her or say she's done anything wrong. It's just,
Oh, well, I don't.
I
Thank
think
God
if
somebody
we
do.
know a little bit in
I don't
advance,
like neither one of the
and it's not
bitches.
just, the chicken, then we would be in a better position to lodge our objections to you. Because right now they are, I assume they're getting the cross-reference numbers, so then I can bring those numbers to the defense table so we can pull up the exact calls that they want us to review.
I don't like neither one
So
of you
that's kind of-
bitches.
I just wanted Your Honor to understand, it's not as simple.
Good
as
you
just
like
we
the
didn't listen
bitches,
to
cause
the
I
chicken
don't,
call.
cause they ain't been nothing but hell ever since they been on this goddamn case. They trying to railroad these fucking means. These means is oof. Oof. She ain't got no business saying nothing. She been sitting still all morning. Quiet as hoe in the church. Now she done got up with her first Sunday dress on. Bitch, sit your ass down.
That Detective Quinn conducted with Adrian B. So,
Y'all trying to make them men's look little.
we can specifically give track 1, 2, 3, 4,
Trying to
5,
make them look small.
1, 2, or 3.
Sit
Give
down.
information to them. The way
Sit
that
your ass down.
Hilton and
I wish you bitches could hear me.
and time hacked each of these calls references specific
That judge
information.
doing a lot of coughing too. He might have COVID. This the first time I've seen him putting on a fucking mask.
There is no other call within which the information she has spoken to the court and described the call using. There's no other call that has that information out of the.
Yeah.
So I'm not certain the reason for the reference.
Yeah, them be the one. Them quiet hoes.
In this particular context, but Your Honor, we have 8 jail.
Son to go meet ass.
We asked, what do you object to? And the only thing
That bitch something else with herself. That man got a headache. Look at him. They sick of this shit.
All right. Anything else? before
But
we
they got a
recess?
job to do.
I still gotta allow you to listen to the phone calls.
The facts got lost. The accurate facts, I listened to all the calls, the relevant calls. I've listened to them all. I know what the chicken call is. I know what the baseball call is. The issue is there's third parties making statements of fact, introducing statement of fact. We argued this.
Yes, Lord,
The
it
state's
is.
position was it's non-hearsay because it goes to the effect of Mr. Bean, who will be a witness. I dispute that. I believe it's hearsay.
And it
That's the
is.
issue.
If they had opposed it on their side, why Miss Hill ain't saying nothing? This bitch, Lincoln bitch, keep getting up.
Madam President,
He
there's
make
some
her
notes.
sit down, bald head ass man.
Third call is, I'll let you know on a break. I was comfortable with that. But I just want you, before these jail calls are being played, to make a ruling, because I waive it.
I need
Whether
you
it's
to, I need
hearsay or
you to
not.
call though.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what, that was my objection. That was it. And I did it in a manner that I thought was appropriate to say that when we raised it, Your Honorable Court told me to let you know.
These people better be careful what they
And
do
then
to
we got
people.
here.
They better be careful.
All right, N-105? Okay, all right, they're both denied. I'll note your objection and the continuing objection, Mr. Harvey. All right, we're gonna take, you have something? Okay, we're gonna take 15 minutes so you can listen to the call, and we'll come back at that point in time, okay? All right, we're in recess.
Look at him. He might be fucking drunk. A bunch of bouffalet. He might be drunk. They keep on bringing all these different people onto this trial. They had that man, Mr. Bean, on. That man ain't answered a question straight yet. He have not answered anything. I don't recall. I don't know. I don't this. I don't that. It's crazy. They sure need me in the courtroom, cause I think I clean that bitch out. It won't be no motherfucking court. Cause they be handcuff my ass. I been cussed all ass out. The judge, the DA, the prosecutor, all of them. They be cussed the fuck out. Study putting these non-relevant ass people on the fucking stand for what? It don't make no sense. Then they just got there, supposed to been starting at 12. This man didn't start till 1:47. He's always late. I guess he feel like he the head nigga in charge, but it's somebody over him too. It is stupid. What you say? You need this laugh, baby. They got me riled up right by now. I'm telling you now they do, cause they full of shit. Now he want them to take 15 minutes to go listen to some shit that they just presented to those attorneys. Like those boys' lives not on the damn line. They life matter too. Everybody got a job to do. But first of all, what they need to do is stop bringing up evidence. It needs to be a deadline for that. Every other day, they coming up with new discovery for this trial. They done had ample enough time to present those discoveries, whatever the hell they got. They not doing that. They bring up every other day, and I see why those guys are so frustrated, because they want to play shit that they have no knowledge of. And if it is a third party on the phone, it's hearsay. It's irrelevant. It's not irrelevant to the fact of what's supposed to be going on. If it's just Mr. Bean and his wife, okay. But when you get to talking about calling my brother-in-law, putting them on it, that's hearsay. And I don't even know how they allow them in the jail to put three-way calls on, because I have tried to do that before, and it hung the call up. But look like to me, they getting calls through, because I'm listening to that conversation with people with a third person on the damn call. And it's stupid. I think the boys have been locked up for over about over 2 years. It's something going on bad up there in Atlanta, Georgia, for real, because it's like they got people awaiting trial. If I'm not mistaken, them guys been in there for over 2 years. And they tired of sitting there. They want to get it over with, and I would want to. They want to put this behind them. Then you got that lying-ass man that was there yesterday. He said that Jeffrey was not in the vehicle, but he told lies on every corner. Everybody that he talked to, he told a different lie. So why would they even put this Sergeant Quinn up? Because he told him that he was telling people different lies. So why would you allow him to even tell you some shit like that? The case needs to be thrown out. The evidence that they try to present before a jury needs to be gone bye-bye, because it's tainted already. I don't see no reason for them to even be using it at all. It needs to go. It just don't make no sense. This is so crazy. Look like I'm about to get into the 3 o'clock hours. I'm finna get out, because I tell you, this done gave me a fucking headache. Yeah, one Papoose, they done been locked up for a minute. There's something going on bad up there in Georgia. They jails are full. You got to know somebody that knows somebody to actually get you to where you need to be in order for your trial to even start. Look at that Nesto man. He been locked up for like 2 years awaiting trial and haven't even been indicted. But he got a shitload of charges. That man got a bunch of charges he do. Shirley Strawberry's husband. That man been locked up for 2 years, awaiting trial. No indictment or nothing. And that is stupid. It tell you somebody not doing their job around there. Somebody not doing something. They need to take a look at everybody. Not just they talk about Fannie Willis, whatever her last name is. They need to look at everybody. Everybody need to be looked at. I'm gonna end this. I got a whole headache at this point. I'm gonna come back on tomorrow so we can watch this trial or whatever. I appreciate everybody that came through. Hit the like button, and I'll see y'all on tomorrow.